Hi, my name is Paul Moat with Synack, and I'm here to talk about VDP, which is short for Vulnerability Disclosure Programs. So first, let's start with what a Vulnerability Disclosure Program is. It's basically a portal that you would publish to enable individuals on the internet to be able to submit vulnerability findings to you associated with your systems and assets. They may not work for you. You probably don't know who they are, but it provides a way for them to safely and securely provide that information to you, all without the fear of prosecution. So you are giving what's called a safe harbor in most cases so that they're able to do that testing. Now, everybody talks about these programs because they are considered a best practice when you get to a point of maturity within your security organization. But we believe there's a best practice approach to going about this to make sure that you don't get overrun with or introduce additional risk into the environment that you weren't quite anticipating. So it really starts by first having a really robust and mature offensive security testing program using vendors and platforms that you ultimately trust to make sure that the information that is found during pen testing is one, considered under confidentiality agreement, non-disclosure agreement. So you have time to really analyze your processes, your systems, make sure that you're ready for a vulnerability disclosure program. So what that means is that you're ultimately testing all of your systems, you're finding the vulnerabilities and the exploitable vulnerabilities specifically. You're looking at how teams are receiving that information, how long it's taking them to work through that process to remediate those vulnerabilities, and then ultimately making sure that you're closing as much of that risk as humanly possible. Now, if you go through that entire process and you say, I've tested everything, I know what vulnerabilities are out there, we've solved them all, we feel pretty good about our testing process, we feel pretty good about the risks out there, then it's a good time to implement a vulnerability disclosure program. Now, why do we recommend that you have a really robust offensive security program first? It's really because of the unknown risks that you ultimately have with a vulnerability disclosure program. An example would be the fact that you don't know who the individual is on the other side, and you don't have control over how they're using the information, how they're storing the information. And you also want to make sure that you're adhering to the timelines that is really expected in the industry, which is about 60 to 90 days from the time that they submit the information to you. They're going to expect that you're going to solve that issue so they can go and ultimately blog about it because they want to get kudos, they want to get some reputation. It looks good for them. So you want to be able to make sure that you're able to adhere to those timelines. You also want to make sure that you have a good triage staff. So you want to know how vulnerabilities are coming in and how you're confirming they're actionable. That way, there's no time delay, there's no false positives, there's no false negatives. All of those things are very important to make sure that you don't end up in a situation where you cause kind of a reputational problem with finders who are working on the VDP program. Because the biggest issue there is that they will talk about it in social media if your triage processes are bad, if your communication processes are bad. So you just want to make sure you have all those pieces together, and you can really verify that if you have a proper offensive security testing program in place, because you should be able to look at remediation times, patch efficacy ratings, how long it's taking folks to navigate through it, whether all parts of the organization are at the same level, all of it's present there. So we hope that helps. Good luck implementing your VDP program. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Synack.